I want to introduce you to the blog of Dr. Mike Eades M.D. He was a practicing M.D. but now is a writer, lecturer, and educator. He wrote the book Protein Power, and his latest book is The 6-Week Cure for the Middle-Aged Middle. I've not read it, I can't recommend it, but I just want to tell you about it. The reason I brought you here was to introduce you to some important names that you should Google and people whose works you should read. This is about Are All Diets the Same? And the crux of the matter is that there was an article published in the New England Journal back in January, February '09 showing that all diets were the same for weight loss. That's the crux. These guys argue that they read it and put those people on really low carbohydrate diets, but they did have a fairly big difference in carbohydrate content. Now, carbohydrates, one of the three macronutrients, the other two are protein and fat. And I think there were something one was like 150 grams and the other one was over 450 in terms of grams of carbohydrate between the high and the low. Now, Gary Taubes sent a copy of the article to Eades, who'd already read it and discarded it because it wasn't really a very good diet. Doing diet studies is very, very difficult. Let's go down here where he talks about Catlin. Here we go. Anyway, the differences weren't all that spectacular between the diets, but the drop in HDL and those in the higher carb diet was there and noticed by the researchers. Okay, so let's take a look at what the researchers said. This is 866, page 866 of the PDF that you can download from the New England Journal of Medicine. Let me just raise this up so you can see. This was February 26, 2009, New England Journal of Medicine. If you go to their site, you can actually get this for free. Here's the statement. The most important thing in the whole study in terms of low carbohydrate diets, the lowest carbohydrate diet increased HDL cholesterol levels more than the highest carbohydrate diet, and all diets decreased triglyceride levels similarly. All the diets except the one with the highest carbohydrate content decreased fasting serum insulin levels, and the decrease was larger with the high protein diet than with the average protein diet. Okay, blood pressure decreased as they lost weight. Okay, that's important. Now there are some people who I want you to know. Let's take a look at this study. I want you to know this guy's name. And what I want you to see in this study, if I can bring it up here, let's see if this will, no, this won't. Outside the screen it says conclusion. A meta-analysis of prospective epidemiologic studies showed that there was no significant evidence for concluding that dietary saturated fat is associated with an increased risk of cardiovascular disease. More data are needed to elucidate whether cardiovascular risks are likely to be influenced by the specific nutrients used to replace saturated fat. Now, that doesn't mean you should go out and eat all the saturated fat you want, but there is some new evidence, and this study was published in November '09, and this is January the 13th, 2010, so you can see this is fairly new. Now, if you want to read about this guy, a very interesting article from a journal that I really don't like, or a magazine that I really don't like, is here. Let's see if we can get this to come up. Guess what? Men's Health. Your Heart Unstoppable, okay? But this guy is a fairly good he's a fairly good writer, and he writes about how Kraus got his start in a lab out in California. Let's bring this up. Come on, come on, come on. Oh, this is so slow. Let's see if we can bring it up faster. Anyway, here he starts about Kraus. There are 9 pages to this article. I'm not a fan of this, of this magazine, but I think this is a great article for you to read. And one of the things I want to emphasize to you is that lower carbohydrate diets may be better for you. Not necessarily high protein, but low carbohydrate diets. So I'd like you to take a look at these articles and then make some decisions for yourself based on your own research. But I think that what has been dogma for so long is getting ready to be overturned. Now, what we want is good information, not more dogma.